Hi, everybody. So I'm Sharon Shelton, and welcome to my YouTube channel. And I want to come on here and do my first live. I want to try this out. I usually just do video and then upload them. So this is a new kind of scary adventure for me to go live like this. But I really want to discuss what autoimmune feels for me, what it really feels like on a day-to-day basis, what it looked like when I had one autoimmune and then over time started stacking them on top of each other. And just, I don't know, the physical symptoms, the mental and emotional things that I have gone through with this, keeping up and trying to manage social circles, which most of them have gone away to the wayside, dealing with work-related issues, doctors, therapists not feeling like you're being heard or seen. So anyways, that is basically what this live is going to be about today, is just hitting those topics. And it's from a personal perspective, my own. I'm self-taught in many areas of what I'm talking about on my channel. So for anybody who actually follows me or stumbles across this video, I do talk a lot about autoimmune because it has been a huge part of my life. For the majority of my life. I'm 49 years old, and my very first autoimmune was psoriasis at the age of 7 years old. So I'm very familiar with autoimmune conditions. Later, and psoriasis is really bad. Later, I had gotten the mono in college, and then that triggered psoriatic arthritis in my early 30s, and then going into my 40s, early 40s, had to have a hysterectomy, and that triggered a bunch of other medical problems on its own. And from January of 2018, of when I got the hysterectomy done, I just turned 42, and I went through a lot of trauma and grief and loss, and that also added into more complications to follow. And then COVID hit in 2020, and as we know, that just kind of flipped everybody upside down in multiple ways. Even the healthiest of people ended up chronically lifelong medical problems or death. So I mean, at least I'm alive and here to say that I'm alive. However, that said, I am not a medical doctor at all. I am not licensed. So this is just purely my own experience and my own research, and literally just my experience in this realm. So if anything sounds maybe familiar to you, I would seek out trained, licensed medical professionals who can actually diagnose and treat. So moving forward with that, a lot of the physical symptoms I actually could deal with for a very long time because it was just all I knew. Especially when we're talking about like psoriatic arthritis in my 30s, and then transitioning down the road later. It was just something that I felt like, was normal after having 4 kids and just kind of a little bit of a crazy, chaotic life and just very demanding. I just thought pain was just part of that. But later I found out that women who are going through menopause also have a lot of mental, emotional, and physical symptoms that are a lot like autoimmune. So that can be kind of tricky to navigate as well. I was blessed, I guess, in and having almost like, everything as far as like multiple autoimmune conditions and menopause and things going wrong and awry as far as that realm of stuff goes, and trauma responses to the body from traumas like deaths and, divorce, loss of job, loss of, when you buy a home, and just loss, a lot of loss and a lot of trauma and grief in the last 5 years. And so as a result of that, and overworking and stressed out and toxic environments and toxic situations and toxic conversations and toxic, work environments, et cetera, it led to my body weakening and getting weaker and weaker and weaker and sicker, and me just not listening to the cues at the time because I was trying to chase that dollar. And when you hear older people say that money, be mindful of your health because you can always make more money, but you can't always get more time or more health, like they are absolutely true on that. So that is true. And unfortunately, I had to learn this the hard way. So for me right now, currently, my newest diagnosis that happened was the end of January of last year, 2024, when I was diagnosed with the final two of rheumatoid arthritis with secondary Sjogren's syndrome. And if I didn't already have enough on my plate, I had the psoriasis, the psoriatic arthritis, the fibromyalgia, the chronic fatigue syndrome due to probably the Epstein-Barr virus that stays dormant after you get mono. Had those already going on. And then also hypophosphatasia. I'm not sure if anybody is super, like, it's starting to become more known and educated, and I have seen it floating around on YouTube a little bit more by other patients who have adult onset hypophosphatasia. It's a soft bone disease, and basically mainly for the adults, because I don't know anybody with the juvenile. So I'm only going to speak again of just personal experience. My vitamin B6 levels used to be like super duper extremely high, and then like dangerously high, which can affect, memory, cognitive, your nerves, all kinds of stuff. And then your alkaline phosphates, it affects, and mine have always been like in the teens to low 20s, which is super, super low. And that causes a lot of pain. And, it feels like sometimes when they're too low, it feels like when I'm walking, like I'm fracturing little foot bones, even though I guess I'm not, but it will feel that way. And so just a lot of chronic pain. I have lived with this, a lot of chronic pain, especially the last couple of years has just gotten really bad. And so due to that, I went from like overworking to working normal to less working to less working to less working, and to the point where I was working so little that I ended up not even being able to work at all, basically, in a nutshell. There's more to it, but that's just like the nutshell of it. And the last 4 months, I have been really, really lost and really, really depressed because I had put my identity was in being like this worker bee, and I lost myself in that as well. So when I lost employment, I got really, really depressed and angry and frustrated, which did not help any of my symptoms at all. And so your physical symptoms tie into your mental and emotional, right? So If you're really depressed, you're going to feel more aches and pains. I recently spoke about this in a video on my bad days, which I am seemingly having a lot more of, which I really, really need to kind of keep an eye on that. On the days that I'm really just feeling down and depressed and like I do not want to live another day, I just can't keep going on like this, are the days that I'm also hurting a lot more. Like my bones hurt, my muscles hurt, my eyes aren't working right. I have to wear 2 different pairs of glasses to see things, either far or near. And that's the Sjogren's. The Sjogren's has really done a number on my eyes. Dry eye disease is one thing, but mine are like so severe that I'm on immunologic eye drops now. And I don't really notice if they're like helping or not. But it's frustrating because I'm chronically fatigued. I'm either exhausted or I'm fatigued. I don't have a lot of good days where I'm like high energy. I'll have one of those, and for every high energy day that I get, I love that. But then I also know I'm going to have like 6 to 10 horribly tiring, exhausting, fatigue days. And that is very depressing for somebody like me who is a go-go personality, and it has really, really slowed me down. It has increased my depression. Like I said, I used to be a very happy, optimistic person. I'm not so much anymore. My anxiety has gone through the roof due to physical limitations. I have my son help me a lot if we're going out of town. I use him as a helper to help me drive. Shopping, because I can't push and pull carts like I used to, especially if they've got groceries in them or canned items, anything that's heavy, I can't lift. I struggle lifting a gallon of water, which is like 8 pounds. I'll feel it in my neck and my hands, and I have carpal tunnel in both wrists as well as the RA. So when I'm having a flare up, it's a guessing game. Well, which disease or problem is flaring up? Is it the carpal tunnel? Is it the rheumatoid arthritis? Is it the psoriatic arthritis? Is it fibromyalgia? Like, what's going on? And typically what I have discovered for me, myself, is that when one flares, then it's a domino effect. So all of them start to flare, or a lot of them start to flare up. And it's really, really hard for me to pinpoint what is going on. So my social circles have kind of like disappeared. I have my roommate, my son. Those are my 2 constant people that I associate with because I live with both of them. And they obviously see everything that's going on, good and bad, in my life. But as far as like friends go, I don't have anybody to hang out with anymore. And even if I did, like making plans is tricky. So like I can make plans and feel great one day, and then that comes up and I'm having a horrible day. So like I try not to even like schedule time to make time for that. Even if I had that, I'm not even sure what I would do if I had that anymore. So I haven't been wanting to go out and make friends. I mean, I want to, but I guess I have that fear, like, are they going to judge me? Can I handle it? I'm so energetically exhausted all the time that, I don't know if I could handle it. And I mean, sometimes I can't even handle, I'll drive to a shopping store. Like if it's me by myself, I went to pick up a prescription yesterday. It was me alone. And I had so much anxiety in the parking lot that I left and I drove home. So it's really a real problem. And then also stress. So stress has been a crippling aspect of my life, my whole life, which also plays into all this as well. But in the fall of 2023, I was diagnosed with the pseudo dementia. I was scared I already had dementia. But if you type in like dementia symptoms, that's kind of like what pseudo dementia, it's temporary. It's usually stress induced dementia symptoms. And I get that quite a lot if I'm overstimulated, overwhelmed, and then stressed out. And it does not take hardly anything anymore to get me to that point, which is terrifying, especially since I'm only 49 and only turned 49 just like a couple months back. So that's terrifying. And with having all of these autoimmune conditions, it's scary. And there's two different RAs, like rheumatoid arthritis, one that can be like, I guess, mildly okay or whatever, and then one that can turn into like the crippling kind. And unfortunately, that is the one that I was diagnosed with, that down the line that could happen. So that was like, alone hearing that was just scary, especially as a single woman. But yeah, I feel like my life has been completely halted and limited, and I'm not trusting. I'm at a point now where I don't trust my psychiatrist, and I don't trust my therapist, and I don't trust my doctors, and that is not a good place to be. That is not a good place to be. But anyways, I just kind of wanted to tap into what it feels like for me to have autoimmune and to have them stack on top of each other. And I don't want anybody to feel like they're alone. All right. Until the next stream, again, this is Sharon Shelton. Thanks for listening, and I'll see you in the next one. Take care of yourself.